Hi, Kim. This video is really just for you, or maybe it's even just for me to sort of parse it all out in my head. I kind of want to maybe even make some notes on a piece of paper here. Here's the deal. For us to get over this thing with sex between you and me, we're going to have to use TI. Which means you're going to have to trust me a lot. When I'm parsing shit out like this, I am not trying to get you. I'm trying to make it so that this is no longer, we're not acting from a position of mystery, but rather from a position of being informed. Like, we both have a lot of feelings in this area, obviously, because it's sex, and that's to be expected. So, but the thing is, not all feelings are equal. Sometimes, if you feel something negative towards me, you're justified in doing so, and I am blameworthy, and then the problem is me. And sometimes, when you're feeling bad about something, the problem's you, and we can determine which is which. And this is the same thing as so for me, you know. So, as I've been thinking about this, I basically determined 3 distinct emotions. One of which I'm going to call gypped, and the other 2 I've talked to you about before, feeling hurt or feeling treated unfairly. And you might think gypped and treated unfairly are different, but I'm going to give you examples to show, I mean, they're the same, but I'll give you examples to show you why they're different, okay? So, let's look at an example of gypped. Eric feels gypped because Kim one time told him that the reason she doesn't get turned on when he plays with her boobs is because she had too much boob play earlier in her life and she's basically used all of her sensitivity up in that area. So in that case, I should feel gypped because when I got you, something good was gone. When I got you, something good was gone. That's gypped. And I feel that about the boobs. And that's what you should feel as well about the eating pussy. Which is to say, you got gypped, kind of. My first wife ruined me on that, and so I defaulted to not doing that. And I'm certainly willing to change that default, but in that regard, you got gypped, okay? It's not about you at all. But you have a good reason to feel gypped. So, you also have a reason to feel treated unfairly. I put boobs in the gypped category. I'm going to put box eating in the gypped category and in the treated unfairly category. Now, this isn't what you feel, it's what it actually is. So you have this is if you have good cause to feel this way. You don't have good cause to feel hurt. You may still feel hurt, but if you do feel hurt, then that's inconsistent with the facts. That's where you go, feelings aren't facts. You can feel gypped, you can feel treated unfairly, both those would be legitimate. The gypped, it's not, that's neutral. I didn't do anything wrong, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just gyppage. The treated unfairly is not about the ontological. Gypped is about the ontological. Some quality implicit to you or me, or habit or pattern of behavior that is persistent. That's gypped. Treating unfairly is about your behavior. Am I treating you fairly in the status quo? And the answer is not really. So, in that instance, my bad. I'm actually doing something wrong. I actually am treating you unfairly. Your feelings are a good indicator there that I should be held accountable for something. Okay? The boobs thing. I may get gypped, but you are not treating me unfairly. I wouldn't put that on the treating me unfairly thing because it's not a behavior for you to react to my playing with your boobs differently. That's not a choice you're making. It wouldn't be appropriate for me to feel hurt because you indicated to me not that you don't like it when I do it because I do it differently than other people, but rather you don't like it because your boobs aren't sensitive anymore in that fashion. So there's no reason for me to feel like treated unfairly. So I might feel gypped, and it's an ontological issue, and I can't do anything about it. Now, the only thing that gypped would justify normally would be something like, well, I'm still trying to make an evaluation about this person, whether I'm going to be with them or not, and this makes this feel like a bad deal to me. That's fair, but we're past that point. We're beyond considering those things because we're fully committed to stay together, so it's irrelevant. So for gypped stuff, we kind of just have to process the reality of it and accept that it's not us. Now let's talk about hurt. So I feel hurt because you've indicated plenty of times that my approach doesn't work for you very well. Okay, so my approach doesn't work. Put a circle here for their names. I put that under hurt. You might additionally feel gypped, right? So Eric's approach might make you feel gypped. In other words, what I mean by my approach is not so much kissing, but being more character sex rather than particularist sex, universalist sex rather than particularist, storylines, narrative, stuff like that. So you might feel gypped that that's my approach. You might also feel as though my approach is treating you unfairly, but that would be contraindicative of the facts. It would be, I'm not treating you unfairly with my approach if you liked that approach. You just don't like that approach. So, now there may be specific behaviors that are, that you can point to in my overall approach that do go in that category, such as box eating. You could say that not kissing is treating you unfairly, except there's no correlate on my end. So it's like, the box eating thing, I'm treating you unfairly because you suck my dick but I don't eat your pussy. But regarding the kissing thing, there's not really an equivalent. So you might feel gypped, but you shouldn't feel treated unfairly. You might feel hurt, but it's contradictory of the facts. It's not for a hurtful reason that I don't kiss you, and I made that clear. But the thing is, I do kiss you now. I want to kiss you more, and you're not, in general, allowing me to change from this. So this is a K thing. She might feel gypped is legitimate. Hurt is not legitimate, and neither is behavior. So if you feel, neither is treated unfairly. If you feel treated unfairly by the no kissing, your feelings aren't consistent with facts. If you feel gypped by it, they are. If you feel hurt by it, they're not. Affirmation. So I might feel gypped in the affirmation area, the lack of affirmation, or the, negation, and that would be certainly reasonable, because you're not very affirming, and you're kind of negating. But I think it's also fair to say I could be treated, I'd put that in the treated unfairly category as well. And the reason is because there's a couple of different values that need to be upheld here. One of them is loyalty and teammatehood. So it's like, what are reasonable expectations for your partner? Nobody wants to be in a relationship where their partner belittles or diminishes them, particularly about areas where they're sensitive. So treated unfairly in that case would be fine for me to feel, I think, and fair. At the same time, it would be unfair of me to demand that you lie to me. My point has always been, and will remain, that you don't have to only respond to questions. You can take initiative. You can say, here's something I can say something positive about. And you can choose to refrain from saying negative things. So in that regard, you have a responsibility to do so as a teammate. Now, if something really needs to be addressed and you really need to bring it up, then the communication is important. So I'm going to put communication down here too. I might feel gypped about the communication because that's kind of your style. I very reasonably feel hurt about your communication because the things you're communicating in general can be very hurtful. And I think you're treating me unfairly because I don't communicate with you like that. So it goes under all three. But the point to be taken away here is on the communication level, I feel hurt not even by things you're communicating necessarily, although I do often, but by the way you're communicating with me. The way you're communicating displays such distrust and such a lack of faith in my abilities to communicate our way through this. It's hurtful. Let me put down next. Well, I think probably the one thing that will solve all the other problems here is the issue of failure tolerance. So failure tolerance is important, which means we should always have a practice mindset, never a performance mindset. When we are in the bedroom and I go to move on you, it should never occur to you to think, to focus on. You should not focus on what's going to happen, what this is, whether it's succeeding or failing. Because that's what makes it fail. You need to focus on allowing shit to happen the way it happens. I mean, in general, Kim, there needs to be much more attention paid from you towards how much you value me. You can make the same critique, but when we're talking just about sex, the critique is much, much more valid coming from me. Maybe in other areas, it's much, much more valid coming from you. For example, I do a poor job of valuing what you provide in terms of SI. You bring me food and I sort of take it without even a thanks or acknowledging how important that stuff is to me. And so that's absolutely a fair critique of me. That I am not attending to how valuable you are to me in circumstances where I really ought to. And I can make the same critique in the bedroom. You know, you should feel incredibly lucky to be with me. I'm not saying I shouldn't feel incredibly lucky to be with you. We both should feel that way. But feelings aren't things that happen no matter what we do, or despite ourselves, or outside of our control. Feelings are things we practice and we shape with our words. If you walk around saying to yourself things about how lucky you are to be with me, or saying to yourself things like, well, there's got to be a solution to this, I just got to figure it out, well, lo and behold, there will be a solution to it. If you walk around saying to yourself, oh, this is intractable, we're never going to figure it out, and you're focusing on the negative all the time, it's not going to be, there's no solvency there. So, stop attacking me, start trusting me. I mean, I'd let you lead, except you lack sufficient optimism and positivity. Negative pessimists can't lead because leadership requires faith. And that's what you need to provide me now. The extent to which you need to display leadership right now is you need to put your faith in me. And that means instead of going like, you're not the gauge of all knowing, and I don't like it when you tell me how things are and act like the teacher and whatever. Feel proud and lucky to be with somebody who has that kind of insight and desire to resolve things. It's okay that I'm better than you at this stuff. It is okay. It's okay that you are somewhat, there's blame that you need to take on. It's okay that you fucked up. That's what it means to be a teammate. You mess up, and you have infinite second chances. And every time you get up to the plate, you struck out the last 50 times. Your teammate, who's a real teammate, is behind you going, I know you can do it this time. It's that's real love, is willingness to invest faith in the other person. And a desire to see him succeed. And a mindset that enables that to happen, which means assume the best. Assume he's going to succeed even in the absence of any evidence. Practice saying those things to yourself. And be okay with learning from me. This is not, oh shit, Eric's telling me what I'm doing wrong again. This is, we need to solve this problem. And I know how to do it. And you don't. And so it's time for you to learn. Sorry. And when you say things to me that are going to be informative of this, I will learn from them too. We both have to take some ego hits here. Believe me, you've had my ego down in the gutter and been stomping it for fucking a year and a half. So, I'm carrying at least as much of the burden as you are. But you're going to have to accept deference here. You're going to have to defer to me about the communication things. You're going to have to agree with me. You're going to have to express remorse. So when I tell you this is very hurtful, you defend. But no matter how long that conversation goes on where you're defending, blah, 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 you're missing the point. It's very hurtful. I feel hurt. And while you may not have done anything wrong by telling me some hard truth, you didn't act like a teammate because you didn't display harm prevention towards me. I don't want my child or my spouse to hear, there was a comment sometime back, you eventually pried it out of me exactly what it said. I didn't like what it said. I thought it might make you feel bad. I deleted the comment. I guess I mentioned that I had deleted a comment like that, but I didn't tell you what it said, and you insisted I tell you what it said. That's me displaying harm prevention. I'm looking out for you. I'm worried that somebody else might hurt your feelings. I'm worried that I might hurt your feelings. I very much try not to ever. And on those occasions when I've done taste your own medicine, you didn't like it at all. For example, in the car one time I started talking shit about your driving, and you fucking hated it. So the thing is, number one, we're going to have to understand that I get my chance to respond. You say your thing, fine. I will listen to it, whatever it is. But then don't tell me to be quiet when it's my turn to respond then. That's unacceptable. It will never be acceptable. You will not silence me. I understand you feel silenced, and that's my bad, and I want to take accountability for that. In the sense that I'm telling you, well, don't say this to me or that to me or the other thing to me, but that's what you actually think or feel, you're feeling silenced. My point about that is you don't need to feel silenced, but you do need to communicate with me as a person and an equal. Which means don't attack. Tell me, I feel this way, and I feel like, I want to blame you right now, Eric. Is it appropriate for me to blame you about this? If you ask me those questions, I will act as your advocate, and I will interpret the situation in your favor as much as possible. But of course, that requires you to trust me. So think about it. Next time you have a negative feeling like that about me, like you're feeling like treating unjustly, tell me about it, and ask me if the feeling is consistent with the facts. Sometimes they are, and sometimes it's not. I can tell. And I'm honest, and I'm unbiased. And if you ask me and approach me and say, Eric, I would like you to please be unbiased about this, and tell me, I will be biased in your favor. But for us to take advantage of this wonderfully successful tool of solvency that's at our disposal, you have to trust me.